Okay, this week what we're going to do is we're going to do our hands-on programming example for Chapter 2. In order to do this, you're going to need some pictures. We're going to have to get those off the web, so we're going to go to, we're going to type mhhe.com/VB2008. Okay, we're going to go to the student edition. Okay, click on the data files link. Okay, the student data, you're going to go ahead and open the zip file. Okay, once your zip file opens, what we're going to do is we're going to extract. Make sure you're extracting all files. Okay, I'm going to extract mine to my desktop. Okay, once you've extracted your files, you want to go and you want to just double check and make sure we have you want to make sure that you've got it. It should be called student data. You're going to open that up. You should have a graphics folder, okay, because this is where the pictures are that we're going to be using. Books, coffee, music. We're going to be using these files, so make sure that those files are available for you. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and close, and then we're going to go into Visual Basic. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to start working on our hands-on example. Our hands-on example starts on page 95. You can see that there's a sketch of the form. So what we need to do is we're going to do File, New Project. Okay, make sure you name it. Okay, I'm going to name this my Hands on Chapter 2. And of course, make sure it's a Windows Forms application, and we're going to choose OK. And that should open up a new GUI window to start working in. Okay, I'm going to start by making my form just a little bit bigger so that I can work with it. Okay, now we have a couple of new things here. We have group boxes that we want to work in. Okay, so we're going to start by putting in our group box. So what you want to do is you want to look down in containers. Oops, it's not in containers. Yes, it is in containers. Okay, look in group box. Okay, we're going to double click, and that's going to create a group box. Okay, if you want to move it, just move it up by the corner there. Okay, we have a second group box. So we're going to go down in containers again, choose our second group box, and we're going to put that one over here to the right. Okay. We have underneath our first group box, we have a picture box. Okay, so we want to find our picture box, which is going to be up in our, is this general? It's called general, isn't it? Common controls. We're going to choose a picture box. Okay, and I'm just going to take that. I'm going to grab it. Make sure you've got the four-way cross in order to move it. Okay, we're going to put a text box down at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to move that down here to the bottom. And I have a rich text box, which is just a little bit different. I'm going to move that, and I'm going to put that over here. And I have a check box. We don't want it inside there, we want it down here. We're going to put it down kind of there. And let's see what else we have. We have 3 buttons. Okay, I'm going to put these buttons over here. Okay, I have 2 labels and 2 text boxes in my second group box, and I'm going to make this just a little bit wider here. So I can make this group box just a little bit wider here. Okay, and I'm going to put in 2 labels. Okay, I'm going to put those in my group box here. Okay, and then I have 2 text boxes. I have I have a masked text box, which I'm going to put with my label 2. And then I have a regular text box, which I'm going to put with my label 1. Okay, and then I have 4 radio buttons, which I'm going to put in this first group box. So, and now we're going to just start arranging all this so that it looks good. So I've got my radio buttons. I'm going to make my text box just a little bit wider. Okay, I'm going to make my picture box a little bit bigger and kind of line it up there. Well, actually they don't have it lined up. Let's see. Let's make it so that it looks like they have it on the form. Okay, I'm going to put my checkbox kind of right here. I'm going to make this text box a bit longer. I'm going to move my buttons over to the side here. Okay, my rich text box I'm going to make kind of longer and wider. Okay, that looks pretty good. Make this one a little bit wider here. Okay, so that looks pretty close. So I'm going to go and I'm going to go ahead and leave it looking like that. Okay, and then what I have to do now is I have to go through each of my items. Okay, so I'm going to change the name on my form. Okay, I'm going to rename it. Okay, and make sure you don't get rid of that VB now. You don't want to get rid of that. I'm just going to call this my main form. Okay. Alright, make sure that you're on your name. Okay, go back and double check and make sure your name is main form. Okay, my name is main form, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to change my text property. Okay, my text property is going to be R4. Oops, I have a little dash here. For reading and refreshment. Okay, and then I want to change my start position to center screen. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to start with the department group box, and we have to look at our picture to see which one that is, and that's going to be this group box here, so our first group box. And we're going to change the name. Okay, get rid of that one, and we're going to change it to department group box. Okay, and our text for our department group box, all the way down at the bottom, is going to be department, which makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, so now, keeping in the department group box. Now, here's a point. When you're working with radio buttons, remember the way a radio button works is you can only choose one at a time. Okay, right? So if you choose one and then you choose another one, the first one turns off and the next one turns on, right? Now, in order to do radio buttons, you have to put them into a group box. If you put them just in the form, then all of the radio buttons are in the same group. Okay, so if you want different radio buttons, like you have like 4 or 5 different questions that require radio buttons, you have to put each one of those questions into a separate group box. Okay, as long as they're grouped into a group box, they will work. These will work together. Now, if I put new radio buttons down here, those radio buttons would work separate from these radio buttons. So remember, radio buttons always have to be grouped. Okay, so our first one is going to be our books radio button. Okay, so we're going to go up here, we're going to change the name, and we're going to change it to books. And we're going to go down here, and we're going to change the text that goes with that radio button. Oops. And we're going to do our ampersand, remember that, so that the user can use hotkeys, and we're going to call it books. We're going to put our ampersand before that B. So that's going to underline the B in books. Okay, the next one we're going to do is going to be our music radio button. So we're going to click on our radio button 2, and I'm just going to change my text right here, and it's going to be ampersand music. And then I'm going to go back up to the top, and I'm going to make this my music radio button. Okay, then I'm going to do my radio button 3, which is going to be my periodicals radio button. Okay, so I'm going to change my name to periodicals radio button. Periodicals. And I'm going to go down to my text. And my text for this, I'm going to make the D my hotkey. So I'm going to do period, and then my ampersand before my D, decals. Okay, periodicals. And then I'm going to do my coffee bar radio button, and I'm going to make that C. So I'm going to select my radio button and my text. And I'm going to do ampersand, coffee bar, and then I'm going to go up to the top, and I'm going to make this my coffee bar radio button. Coffee bar radio button. Okay, so those are our radio buttons. Next, we're going to do our sign in button. Okay, so that's going to be this button down here at the bottom. Okay, and we're going to call the name of this is going to be our sign in button. Sign in button. And our text is going to be sign in with our S being our hotkey. So we're going to put an ampersand before that S. Okay, the next button that we're going to do is going to be our print button. Okay, so we're going to do print, and we're going to make our P into our hotkey. And we're going to go back up to the top, and we're going to name this our print button. Okay, then our button 3 is going to be our exit button, and we're going to do our X as our hotkey because the X is usually the hotkey on exit. Remember, we want to make things standardized, so never choose your own if there's one that's pretty standard on something. So we're going to do exit. Okay. So those are our buttons. Actually, now that we've had our buttons set, what we can do now is we can go and we can select our cancel and accept buttons. We haven't done that before. What our cancel button does is if we press the escape key, it'll press that, it'll cause that button to press. And our accept button will, if somebody hits the enter key, it'll do that. So for our accept button, we want it to be the sign in button. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to accept button, and we're going to pull that down, and we're going to choose our sign in button. Okay, and our cancel button, we're going to go down and we're going to choose our cancel button, and we're going to choose our exit button. Okay, so now if somebody presses escape, it's going to exit the program. If somebody presses enter, it's going to cause the sign in button to push. Okay, so that's what that does. Okay, the next thing we want to work with is our department picture box. Okay, so that would be this, because that's our only picture box. We're going to call it our department picture box. I'm going to do our name first. This is department. Okay, it's our department picture box, and we're going to set our visible setting to false, which means it doesn't show. Okay, our visible setting is going to be false, which means when the person first starts the program, that picture box is not going to show. Okay, and then for our size mode, we're going to do stretch image. What that means is it's going to make the image, whatever picture we choose, it's going to make fit in, it's going to fill up the entire box. So you want to make sure, if your box is a square shape, you want to make sure you choose kind of square images, because otherwise it's going to kind of do a silly putty effect. It's going to squish things. Likewise, if you choose square images and then make your box into a rectangle, it's going to make it like kind of silly putty stretch. So make sure that you always, you know, your pictures and your box are kind of matchy-matchy, because otherwise it's going to be really weird. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is our image visible checkbox. That's going to be this checkbox down here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change our name. Okay, and as you can guess, this is going to determine whether that image is visible or not. So we're going to do our image visible checkbox. We are going to do the text on that. Okay, so what we want to do for our text is we're going to make the V as our hotkey. So we're going to do image visible. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to make we want to set the visible on that to false. So that checkbox is not even going to be available until we do something else in order to make it visible. So we're going to have to do something in the program in order to make that checkbox visible, making that'll only be visible if certain criteria are met. So we're not even going to be able to make that picture visible at first. Okay, the next thing we want to do is our promotion text box. Our promotion text box is going to be this one down at the bottom. Okay, this is going to be our promotion text box, so we're going to change our name. Okay, we're going to change our name on this. We're just going to get rid of that one, and we're going to change it to promotion. Okay, and the text on that is going to be blank. Okay, the next thing we want to work with is our check-in group box. So we're going to click on that check-in group box, and we're going to change the name on that to check-in group box. Check-in group box, and the text, I'm going to go down here. Our text is going to be elite member check-in. Okay, so we can assume here that only our elite members will have access to certain things. Okay, our label 1, it doesn't have, it's going to be name. I'm going to go ahead and call it our name label. We're going to do ampersand name, and it's called label 1 in your book, but I'm going to go ahead and call it our name label because I don't like leaving things as label 1. It's not good practice. Our label 2 is going to be our member ID. So we're going to click on that, and we're going to call this our member ID label. Now, it's something interesting when you're using camel case ID. You don't capitalize, you just capitalize the first. So it's capital I, lowercase d. Same thing if you were like DVD, it would be capital D, lowercase v, lowercase d. Okay, that's just standard naming conventions. Okay, we're going to go down and we're going to change the check the text on this, and the hotkey on this one is going to be the I. So we're going to do member and then ampersand ID. Okay. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to do our name text box. So we're going to click on this, and the text on that is going to be blank. Usually you don't put text in text boxes. Sometimes people do. Usually we don't, but we're going to call this our name text box. Your text box and your label should be matchy-matchy. So your name text box should match up with your name label. Your member ID text box should match up with your member ID. Now this is a masked text box. Okay, so we're going to go back, make sure you get rid of that number, and this is going to be member ID, and they did both capitals, member ID. That's not really proper naming conventions, just something to point out that they're not really. Okay, it should be, your text should be blank, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put a mask on it. That's what's cool about the mask text box, and we're just going to click on that little ellipsis that we saw there. And we can see that there's already a bunch of options. Okay, we want the numeric 5-digit, so we're going to go ahead and click on that. And notice it puts this mask 00000, and it gives us a little preview of what it looks like. It has a little underline thing in there, and we're going to click on OK. Okay, and then what we can do is that we can just kind of shrink that up to fit the mask if you want to. You don't have to, but you can if you want. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the welcome rich text box. Okay, so the name of that, okay, is going to be the welcome rich text box. Welcome, and we're going to call that the welcome rich text box, and the text is going to be blank. And then we need to add a print form because we have a print button, right? And we can't print unless we have our print form. So we're going to go down here, and we're going to add the print form. Okay, we need to have a print form 1, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a tooltip while we're at it. And I can never remember where the tooltips are. Tooltips are, they're not in dialogues. Not in printing. Where are my tooltips? Ah. Nope. Here's my tooltip right here. Okay, so tooltip is in common controls. Okay, so we're just going to double click and add a tooltip. Okay, what the tooltips do now, what I can do is I can click on one of these, and I can go down and I can find my tooltip. Okay, and I can add information. Okay, so I can type what my tooltip is. I can type press here to sign in. Okay, so now I've just added a tooltip, and you only need one tooltip for the whole form. Okay, so there only has to be one tooltip for the whole form. And let's see if they tell us what tooltips they want us to put on here. They don't really put us. They tell us to do a tooltip, but then they don't tell us what tooltips to enter. Interesting. So, but you can enter tooltips on anything. We can click on this, and we can go down, and we can find our tooltip 1, and we can put enter member name. Okay, we can click here and put our tooltip. We can put enter membership number, whatever. So then when you mouse over that tooltip, that'll pop up and it'll tell you what exactly it's going to do. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start coding. We're going to start with our books button. So we're going to double click in order to open our code window. Okay, now we have our main form. We always want to comment, so we're going to go ahead and move this down. Okay, and we're going to start by putting our project. Remember, you always start your comments with a apostrophe, and that means that the computer's not going to read it. Okay, and we're going to type our project name, project, and your comment should appear in green. And I'm just going to put the name of my project is going to be my Chapter O2 Hands-On. Okay, nice and simple. Then you're going to put the programmer name, and here you should put your name. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is you can put the date if you want. We can put a description of the program. Okay, my description is allow the user to sign in and display print sales promotion. Okay, good. Now, what we're going to do now is we want to start programming our form. We have our main form as our form. We have our radio button. Notice it says checked changed. That means when we've clicked on that radio button, when we've done something to show that, something's going to happen. Okay, so we're going to start with a comment because we want to tell the user what's going to happen, or we want to tell not the user, but whoever's looking at this program next. We want to tell them what we were trying to accomplish with our code. So we're going to display the image and promotion for the books department. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to display the image and the promotion for the books department. Now, here's something that's really interesting. We need to somehow get our pictures into our program, because if we don't have our pictures in our program, then we can't use them. So what we're going to do is we're going to click here, and we're going to go to our projects page. We're going to go to our resources, and we're going to click on add resource. Okay, we're going to add an existing file, or well, we can add a new image. Okay, not sure what these images are. Let's see. Student data. Let's go look at what these files are. Graphics, and these are, this one is, we can look at it. Properties, this is a GIF file. Coffee, properties, I think they're all GIF files. That's a PNG file. Lovely. So, and then coffee, and then what else did we have? We had periodicals. We had music. Is a PNG file. And periodicals is a JPEG. Okay, so we have a GIF, we have a JPEG, right, this was a GIF. Yeah, we have a GIF, we have two PNG files, and we have a JPEG. Okay, so we're going to go back over here, and we're going to add a resource, and we're going to add a new image, and let's start with a PNG image. Okay, let's see. Add new. Let's add existing file here. Okay, that way we don't have to worry about it. Go to desktop. Go to let's see. What was it called? Student data, right? Student data. Student data. Graphics and books. Open. Okay, we want to add another resource. We're going to add an existing file. Same thing, we're going to go to desktop, we're going to go to student data, graphics, and we want coffee, and we're going to add a new resource again, we're going to add an existing file, we're going to go to desktop, student data, a lot of student data. Graphics, and we wanted to add the music, and we're going to add an existing file again, and we're going to go to desktop, and we're going to go to student data, graphics, and add the periodicals. Okay, so now we have them in our resources. Okay, You have to have them in your resources in order to use them. If they are not in your resources, you cannot use them. So now notice that they are all in our resources. So we can go back to our project. Okay, so we're going to go back to our main form. Go back here, okay, to our display. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do department picture box. Okay, department picture box, and we want the image, dot image, okay, equals, and then we can type my. Now we should have in our resources, okay, we're going to go ahead to do resources, dot. Now look, we have them all available to us to use right here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to select the books. Okay, that's the image that we want. Okay, now if you're not doing that, if you don't see them here, if you're not getting it when it pulls up, then you have a problem. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do change our text, promotion text box, there it is, and we're going to change the text property. Okay, oops, text property. And what we wanted to say, remember text always goes in quotation marks. So we want to buy 2, get the second one for half price. Okay, again, end your quotes. Okay, you always need to end your quotes. Okay. So then we want to go back to our main form, okay, and the next one we're going to do is we're going to do our coffee bar radio button. Why did they do their coffee bar next? They did books, and then they did coffee bar. Okay, well we'll just do it the order that they did it in. So let's choose our coffee bar radio button, okay, and we want to do the department, okay, again it's the department picture box, okay, dot. Okay, and it should be your image equals my dot resources, and our image that we want to use for this one is going to be our coffee. Okay, so when you put dot, you should be able to access that coffee. Okay, and we want to change our promotion text box text. Promotion text box dot text equals, and we want it to equal celebrate the season with 20% off specialty drinks. Okay, then next we're going to do the music radio button. So we're going to go back here again, we're going to double click on music. Okay, and oh, what did we forget here? We forgot our comment. Always comment. This is going to display the image and promotion for the coffee bar. Okay, always remember your comments. Must have comments. Very important. Okay, our comment on this one is going to be display the image and promotion for the music department. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to do our department picture box again, dot, and it's going to be our image. Oops, helps if you type the word image equals okay, and our image is going to equal my dot, and then pick your resources. And dot, and of course we're going to use music. Okay, then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do our promotion text box, dot, text, equals, and our text is going to say get a free MP3 download with purchase of a CD. Okay, we're going to go back to our form and we're going to do our periodicals radio button, which is our last radio button to do. And our comment, we need to display the image and promotion for the periodicals department. Okay, and then of course we're going to do the same thing. We want the department picture box dot image equals, and we're going to do my dot resources dot, and this is going to be let's see, periodicals. Okay, and then we're going to do our promotion text box again. Promotion text box dot text equals, and then what our periodical is going to say, elite members receive 10% off every purchase. Oh, how cool is that? Okay, now the next thing we want to do is we want to do our image visible checkbox. So we're going to go to our main form again. Okay, we're going to double click our image visible checkbox. And again, notice it says check changed. Okay, and then here what we're going to do is we're going to set the visibility of the department image. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do department. Okay, we're going to do the department picture box dot, and then this time we want visible because we want to change the visible selection, equals, and then we want it to equal whether it's checked or not. So this is kind of weird the way we're going to do this. What we want to do is we want to do image visible checkbox dot checked. Okay, so what that's saying, okay, by doing this, department picture box dot visible equals image visible checkbox dot checked, what it's saying is it's saying make it equal. So if the box is checked, make the picture box visible. If the box is not checked, make the box not visible. Okay, so what we're doing there is we're making it so that people can check and uncheck and check and uncheck, and we don't have to write a bunch of different subroutines testing to see if that's checked or not. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to work with our sign in button. Okay, so what our sign in button is going to do is it's going to set up the screen to display the department promotions and then they went to the next line, so we're going to go up to the next line. Welcome message, hide the sign in controls. Okay, so we're doing two things here. Okay, obviously we're setting things up and we're also hiding the sign in controls. So what we're going to do first is we're going to put a little message here. We're going to hide and disable the sign in controls. Now, what are the sign in controls? Here it is. We're going to do the check in group box. Check in group box. Okay, so we're just going to select that one. Dot visible. Okay, and we're going to make that equal false. Okay, so now our check in group box is not visible anymore. What we're doing is we're making it go away, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make the sign in button. Okay, the sign in button, and we're going to disable it. Okay, so enabled equals, and again we're going to do false. Okay, so what we've done now is we've disabled the sign in button, so you can't click that again, and we've made the check in group box so it's not even visible. Okay, so we've made it invisible so that you can't see what's going on there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to enable the group of radio buttons. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to put department group box dot enabled equals true. And now that's interesting because it didn't say that that radio button was in that group box was. Nope, the enabled wasn't false. So actually we don't even have to do that because it's already true. What we might want to do is go back to our main form, click on our department, okay, go back to our enabled, okay, and set that to false. Okay, so now when it comes up, they can't even click on any of that until they've hit that sign in button. Okay, and what we've done here is we've enabled it, we've changed it to true. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to show the promotion controls. Okay, remember we've set all those visibility to false. Okay, so we want the promotion text box to be visible. Okay, we want that to be true. And then we want the image visible checkbox. Okay, the image visible checkbox dot visible. Okay, we want that to equal true. And then we want the welcome rich text box. We want to set that visible to equal true. Okay, so what we've done is we've turned, remember we turned all that stuff off on the form. We made that promotion, remember that promotion text box? Okay, if we go down to the promotion text box and we look at our visible, nope, actually we're going to set that to false. Okay, so that was our promotion text box. Our image visible checkbox. Okay, if we go back to our main form, we have our image visible checkbox. If we go down and we see the visible, okay, you see it's false. Okay, and then our welcome rich text box, if we look at that, we see that the visible on that is also set to, oh, that's set to true, so we're going to go ahead and set that to false. Okay, so now what we've done is we've just turned those all back on, because they're going to be false when we first turn the form on. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to display the welcome message. Okay, so we're going to do our welcome rich text box dot, and what we want to do is we want to change the text property here. Okay, so our text property equals, and now what we can do is we can add some interesting things to here. So we can do, we're going to first remember quotes, welcome member number. Okay, now what we can do is we can add, okay, use the ampersand. Remember the ampersand, oops, this is supposed to be a double quotation. Remember the ampersand is our concatenation. Okay, so we're adding something. So what we can do is we can add the member ID mass text box dot text. So whatever information they put in there, we can add to our message. Okay, so now we're at welcoming member text box, and then I put a space underscore, which lets me continue to the next line. Ampersand is a concatenation, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do environment. The environment dot new line. Okay, and remember what that new line does is that puts a like a enter in there. Okay, and then now I can enter the name. I can enter the name text box dot text. So now I'm entering the name of the member. So what I've done here is I've said welcome member number, and I've put the member, and then I've put down, I put an enter so that I move to the next line, and then I put the name of the member should show up in that rich text box. Okay, and then that's going to end that subroutine. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to do our print button. Okay, so we're going to double click on the print. And this stuff is all standardized. So we're going to do the print form 1, okay, and then dot, and we're gonna do print action, and then it's going to equal, and then we want to print it to a print preview, okay. And you know, of course, there's different choices on what you can do for that, but we want to do a print preview because we don't actually want to print things out. And then again, you're going to do your print form 1. And you're going to do the print method, and you're just going to open and close your parentheses. Okay, and that's the end of the subroutine for that. Then we need to program our exit button. And this one we're gonna, oh, we forgot our comment on that previous subroutine, which is not a good idea. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna end the program. And again, of course, that's me.close. And we're just gonna open and close that. Then we're gonna go back up here because we forgot to put our comment. And our comment on this is gonna be print the form in the print preview window. Okay, and that's going to be your entire program. Now what you need to do is you need to check and make sure that your program runs. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit our Start Debugging button and see what happens. It should show up in the middle of our screen here. Okay, that's right, it shows up in the middle of the screen. Notice that our department buttons are disabled. We're not seeing any of this other information here. We don't see the rich text box. We're not seeing the picture image box. We don't see that checkbox. We don't see the text box down here. Okay. Now it's starting with the member ID. We might want to change that. Okay. So let's put our first customer in. Okay, and move to the next space. And we'll make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll sign in, and what happens? Okay, we don't see that sign in anymore. Okay, we have welcome member number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Bob Hope. If we want to make our image visible, let's go ahead and click that. Now let's try clicking on one of these and see what happens. We have the books picture, we have our promotion down there. Okay, we have our music, we have the information down there, periodicals, we have that down there. Coffee bar, we have that down here. What happens when we turn off the image visible? Our image visible is no longer showing. Okay, so that all seems to be correct. We click on our print button, we get our print preview, that's correct. And we click on our exit button and it exits. So that's correct. So we're really good. So actually right now I'm not going to show you how to set your tab stops. We're not going to worry about that. That's we're going to learn how to do that in a later chapter. So let's just let's hold off on that for now, and we'll worry about tab stops. Well, we can set, okay, go ahead and click there and set your tab index. Okay, click on the name, set your tab index to 1. Or no, actually it should be set to 0. Sorry. Set it to 0, and then this one, your tab index, it should set to 1. Okay, and then go ahead and hit that. And see, now it starts there. When you hit the tab button, it moves to the next one. So very easy to do. All right, once you're done with that, I noticed that a few people have been having trouble with saving and turning in their programs, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that now. So we're going to do File, Save All. We're going to look and we're going to see where it's saving. Okay, this is saving to Users, Linnea, Documents, Visual Studio 2010 Projects. My solution name is HandsOnCh2. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that. So remember, it's in my Documents, in my Visual Studio 2010. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, and you can close it out. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Documents. Okay, I'm going to find Visual Studio 2010. Okay, Projects. There it is right there. There's my HandsOnCh2. Okay, that's what I need to zip. So I'm going to right-click. Okay, I'm going to choose Send To. I'm going to choose Compressed or Zipped Folder. And that's going to create a zip folder. This folder then is, this zip file then is what you're going to submit to me online. Okay, so you're going to submit that online, and that is going to be what you need to turn in. Okay, and that's it. You turn in the zipped file to me for grading, and that's it for Chapter 2.